The ENLIGHT remote command interface is also an addition that came on with version 1.0, I believe, and it's a very enabling and powerful, although easy to miss feature within ENLIGHT itself. Essentially, what the remote command interface does is allows you to use all of the tools that we've just discussed for managing the hardware and the gain settings and the peak tracking and the thresholding.
Across multiple module types.
Across multiple module types. Essentially, one copy of ENLIGHT can be running on a dedicated industrial processor speaking to one instrument. You could run multiple copies of ENLIGHT on a single processor talking to different types or the same types of multiple instruments. But use ENLIGHT to manage all of the details of the socket connections, the data throughput, the interleaving, everything that's done with data acquisition, doing all the spectral management and the averaging and the distance compensation within the FPG section, to take advantage of building sensors quickly through either the templates or the duplication tools, as well as setting up the alarming conditions, the limits, and doing all of the local data saving that we just demonstrated. We're skipping over the charts and image tabs today. There's some details there, but all of those features can be used in ENLIGHT, and then you can use the remote command interface to subscribe to the output of that process data for your own custom application. And so again, I mentioned that the indication that this is even present in ENLIGHT is subtle at best, and that's over here on the Settings tab where you see a remote command interface. What that allows you to do is specify an Ethernet port, defaults to 1853, and then actually start the remote command interface service, which will allow you to connect to ENLIGHT now not only as a data client to the interrogator, but as a data server to your own application. So that's what it is. What does it do? Well, let's start with what's included in the ENLIGHT distribution. After you install ENLIGHT on your computer, if you browse into Program Files, Micron Optics, ENLIGHT, Examples, you'll see a LabVIEW example here for the ENLIGHT remote command interface. Okay? So that's the path. And basically what this is a collection of VIs, and there's a top-level VI that I'll show to you later. Incidentally, all of this example is done in LabVIEW. That's something that we've heard that many of our customers prefer and are very comfortable programming in. But as far as the ENLIGHT command interface, it's an Ethernet interface with a defined command set that can be implemented in really any language. The demonstration we're going to show you today is in LabVIEW. Okay.
I also have some .NET C# classes and examples. If you have an interest in that, just contact us and we can get you a beta copy of that. Okay. So what we're going to do is in real time create a custom interface to the LabVIEW ENLIGHT remote command interface. So we can open different sub-VIs here. We're going to open a connection. So we see the ENLIGHT open connection. And we are going to write a command. Now auto wire here for us. And then we will read the response from that command. Okay. And then we'll close that connection. A very, very simple example. Okay. We're going to create some of the appropriate inputs and outputs. I'm going to create a control for any incoming errors. Create an indicator for any outgoing errors. So we're going to create a control for the Ethernet address, and this will actually be the Ethernet address
for ENLIGHT. So as we're doing this, it's worth mentioning that you can run ENLIGHT as a server and your Ethernet remote command interface client on the same machine using the loopback address, so they can be on two separate computers, and they communicate either way through Ethernet the same way.
If you're consuming computer, if the computer with LabVIEW, if ENLIGHT is running on a separate PC from the LabVIEW code, make sure that you open up the proper ports on the firewall. By default 1853. If you change it to a different value, you need to open up that as well.
Okay.
Also be aware that if you have multiple copies of ENLIGHT running, which is something relatively new in 1.0, you cannot have both copies of ENLIGHT running on the same port, so you will need to change the port of one of the copies of ENLIGHT. If you do try to open up two copies of ENLIGHT with the same, with the command interface enabled on the same port, it'll prompt you with an error and it'll disable the command interface on whichever one was open last.
Okay, so now we have a very simple LabVIEW example. Let's just do a little cleanup here. So here's our incoming error, our outgoing error, and if you'll note the default Ethernet address that was sent, that was established here is the loopback, so we're going to be doing talking to the home address or to the ENLIGHT server on port 1853 on this same machine. And actually, I'm going to blow this up because I think my first command is going to have a pretty long response. Okay, and let's just create a scroll window as well.